channel. Today's lecture is in continuation of my two previous lectures on national power. In previous lectures, I discussed first element, geography, second, economic development, third, military preparedness, and technological superiority. Today, other contributing elements are discussed as below. As you all are aware that the hegemonistic policies pursued by United States of America and its Western allies have proved and vindicated the fact that how they are forcing the countries to achieve their economic and strategic interest by using their collective elements of national power and United Nations Security Council and also international financial institutions. Now, the most important element is natural resources. The natural resources are the gift of nature. Those countries who utilized their natural resources are enjoying fruits of national power and securing their vital national and international interests. The majority of states have abundant natural resources, but due to lack of technological know-how, are dependent on technologically advanced powers. Large quantities of natural resources have made it possible for Middle East and Persian Gulf nations to establish relations with countries who are dependent on energy or energy-starved countries, which is lifeline of industrial development. The natural resources and the raw material also greatly contribute to the national power. While the natural resources are the gift of nature, the raw material is the result of human labor. Large amounts of natural resources are essential for socio-economic development. Nature has unevenly distributed natural resources around the world and are increasingly depleting. States with great industrial organizations and manufacturing infrastructure have traditionally been able to convert the potential of natural resources into actual national power. A country like United States has a rich store of natural resources and yet may be dependent on imports because of its voracious consumption. Japan has few natural resources. It is dependent on imports for 100% of its petroleum requirements and other products from all over the world. States have traditionally, in order to overcome deficiency of natural resources, adopted several ways. The prevalent method before World War II was to conquer the resources-rich areas of Asia, Africa, Latin America, wherever they want. This method sparked wars between even European powers and Japanese expansion that led to the World War II. New method is prevalent now, that is to develop resources in another country by means of concession, political manipulation, and even a judicious use of force, or in other words, FDI, foreign direct investment. The third and most common method for obtaining natural resources is to invest in these countries to explore and develop untapped natural resources. In recent years, however, the combination of rapid industrial growth and decline of resources has changed the global economy into a seller's market. Countries devoid of natural resources are striving to make alternative and reduce the dependence. Number second are productive, not only population but productive population. The population is a potent source of national power provided states utilize human resources efficiently. The educated, innovative, research-minded, productive population contributes to the economy of country, while productive population is burden on the state. Those countries are powerful who have efficiently utilized their natural and resources and human resources. The productive human resources are, in other words, willing to work in economic terms, have taken their states to the highest level of economic development, technological advancement, and made their countries superpower. The United States of America, Japan, European countries, and Chinese productive population has vindicated this fact. Contrary, unproductive or only consuming population of 57 Islamic countries endowed with enormous natural resources also vindicates the fact. States invested on their human resources progress. Japan, destroyed by nuclear bomb, with a small population marked by widespread technical skills, and has been able to exercise national power far in excess of many Muslim populous countries. The population is potent source of national power, provided contribute efficiently to the utilization available resources with their ability and innovation and research. The European population brought industrial revolution and transformed the entire world's perception of impossible to possible. Europeans, by dint of their population's innovation, conquered the entire world. The productive population of USA also continued the process and changed the fate of world. Another element is ideology. Ideology, in the words of Weddellford and Lincoln, is a body of ideas concerning economic, social, and political values and goals, which pose action program for attaining these goals. Ideology is a set of principles adopted by a state to fulfill the goals of national interest. The ideology gives unity to nations and a sense of common thinking. It also helps the government in finding support from the people. Ideology also serves as vital weapon to raise the morale of people. The ideology is closely linked with national power. The states of world closely watch and ascertain the commitment of the people with their state. Most of ideologies are concerned with achievement of power. The ideology can be an effective instrument in forging unity among various states professing faith in similar ideology and thus contribute to the enhancement of their collective power. In the present era of international coexistence, economic cooperation and confrontation, respect for human rights and collective interest of the world, the ideology is losing to some extent its relevance. Ideology is a prominent factor for boosting national power. History provides ample proof as to how the ideology of communism, capitalism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, and above all, nationalism has influenced the interaction of states. The ideological affiliation of states stimulates the sense of cohesion or integration. Ideological basis makes a state stronger. The ideology prosper states and also become the potent cause of downfall of states. Leadership and national morale. The political, economic, and strategic wisdom of leadership is another important element of power. In international politics, the leaders take important and crucial decisions. They decide the nature of relations with other states, declare war, and conclude peace. Their prudent and judicious decisions have direct impact on power of states. Emphasizing the important role of leadership, Palmer and Parkinson says, without leadership, people cannot even constitute a state. Without it, there can be no well-developed or integrated technology, and without it morale is totally useless, if indeed it can exist at all. Wise leaders have dragged out many degraded countries from quagmire of degradation. The political, economic, and strategic wisdom of sage leadership is an invaluable element of national power. Sage and courageous leadership is a source of integrating nations, and wisely and effectively bargain with world powers to secure vital national interest without coming into conflict or harming others' interests. The political systems of countries like USA, France, and Britain has strengthened their national power. The administrative and management skills of leaders are crucial to realize national power. National morale is defined as the degree of determination with which a nation supports the domestic and foreign politics of its government in peace and war. It was the national morale of Asian, African, and Latin American nations or peoples that they fought valiant struggle for liberation and salvation of their motherland from the imperial powers of world. In the words of Palmer and Perkins, morale is a thing of spirit made up of loyalty, courage, faith, impulse to the preservation of personality and dignity. The social, cultural, and historical factors of state are contributing and valuable factor for increase of national power. The weak national power of most of the Asian and African states is largely due to the presence of internal dissension and external involvement are introduced into their affairs. Quality and performance of diplomacy in international system. The national power of a country is greatly determined by the quality of diplomacy pursued by the state. A prudent diplomacy can bring the different elements of national power to bear maximum benefit. In the words of Marjantha, diplomacy of high quality will bring the ends and means of foreign policy into harmony with the available resources of national power. Let me give you an example. Yasser Arafat secured impossible from the Western powers and used a state of Palestine only through diplomacy, following guerrilla war. But diplomacy forced the European powers from supporting South Africa and abolished the apartheid from South Africa. Diplomacy by world leaders ended civil wars in Africa and other countries. Diplomacy is also an important instrument by which national power can be enhanced. A viable and potent diplomacy can bring warring states on table. Potency of diplomacy of states depend on the quality of leadership and economic potential of states. Now, membership in strategic and economic alliances and international treaties. Alliance is a means by which some states pool their power to meet an imminent threat. Alliances serve as instrument of power. The realization for mutual interdependence has given birth to a large number of regional organizations, arrangements, agreements, and trading blocs or military blocs. European Union, ASEAN, SAARC, NAFTA, APEC, SCO, and several others have been major pillars in international relations. Others are NATO, CETO, CENTO, Warsaw Pact. These are the examples. The policy of every state is now becoming conscious of these organizations, trading blocs, and economic and trade agreements. Hence, international organizations, whether economic or military, treaties, pacts, trading and economic blocs and alliances also constitute an important element of national power. These act together or in combination for influencing the acts of rival states or groups. Alliances are deterrent against each other. Members of one bloc consider many times before taking any harmful action against rival due to collective response from opposite alliance. Wish you good luck. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.